This hearing of the Medford Community Development Board is being conducted via remote means. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. A reminder that anyone who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by accessing the link that was included on the meeting agenda posted on the City of Medford's website. If, despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide real-time access, we will post a recording of this meeting on the city's website as soon as possible. A reminder that given the remote nature of this meeting, tonight all votes from the board will be made by roll call. Let's see. Please note that the actual meeting materials for tonight before the board can be viewed on the city's website at medfordma.org. You can click on CD board filings, and Danielle will provide the link in the chat for if there's anyone on the public. I'm going to do a roll call attendance. Vice Chair Emily Hederman.
Present.
Peter Cowles. Oh, Peter's not in. Ari Fishman.
Present.
Pam Mariansky.
Present.
Sally Akiki. Not here. Sharad Bhattacharya.
Present.
And myself, Jackie McPherson. Okay, and Danielle, you can introduce any staff on the call.
Myself, Danielle Evans, Senior Planner, and Alicia Hunt, the Director of the Office of Planning, Development, and Sustainability.
Okay. And so the first meeting agenda, Danielle, can you remind me while I am still fumbling?
Yeah, I'm trying to, I'm going to email you this prep doc if you, for some reason, if you can't see it. There might be syncing issues. Let's see. I sent that to your Gmail. Okay, let me open my window again. Yeah, so tonight we didn't have any applications and no public hearings, but one thing that I had wanted to discuss was, every year it's always good practice to revisit the rules and regs. I do want to make sure that it reflects actually what we do. And also I thought it would make sense, if it doesn't already, to address how remote meetings are handled. Because I feel like, that's hasn't been, if it's not addressed, then we should address that in remote meetings and hybrid meetings. It seems like at least the hybrid format should be here to stay, or at least be allowed to do, probably in some capacity. We're not sure what the state legislature will have to say about fully remote, but we do have that capability until I think it's May 2024. Does anybody know if that's correct? Or is it another year? I feel like time flies. So if you already have those, then I probably should review those. Let's see, Mandelson. Let's see if I saw this one. Because I saw some that were old and it referenced.
It's just to answer the open meeting law. The temporary provisions have been extended by Governor Haley until March 31st of 2025.
2025. Okay. I was hoping it was 2025. Okay. So yeah, looking through the rules and regulations, and I'm seeing like regular meetings, and it doesn't have a set schedule in here. This might have been before that happened, but there's talks about closing of agendas, meeting.
Would you mind pulling this up and sharing the screen so we can all be on the same page?
Sure thing.
I know it's in the folder, but just you can see exactly what you're looking at. Thank you, Danielle.
Mm-hmm. Can you see it? So I'm not sure if, so this was adopted July 14, 2022. Okay. So that was, okay, that was more than a year ago. That's like a year and a half ago now.
Yeah, and this is,
different composition of the board.
if I'm not mistaken, this has been given to each board member since as brought on, correct?
No, I was not given this as part of my onboarding.
That was the intention, so I'm not sure where that was left at.
And if this was only reviewed like, a year and a half ago, do we really need to revisit this now?
I mean, it's good to at least look at it every year and see if there's anything that needs to be updated. So, for example, regular meetings held monthly on a weekday and at no time earlier than 6. In a conference room,
Yeah, I definitely think, so I can only speak for myself. It warrants us to go through it. It's just, I didn't know how much we would get through it tonight. One of the things I want to be clear on is that we definitely have to do some adjustments, right? And that's even administrative sort of things with the filing of applications and shutting them down. We had discussed that previously as a board. Just going forward, and like, you don't want to get something on a Friday night and then have to like scramble to read it over the weekend for the following week, kind of.
Yeah. So
my opinion.
Yes, no, absolutely. And through the chair, all of the expectations of the board and staff should be in this document. So you do not need to vote on this tonight, but just something to start like thinking about.
Yeah, and just giving the board some time to digest it and see if there's anything that you can recommend or that you want to discuss as a group on what can be changed.
I see that there have been substantial updates from the version that I saw, which really needed work. This seems closer to how we do things. But I'm not prepared to recommend changes at this point because I'm just seeing this now.
So I have my hand raised. I don't know who can see it, but I'd love to be recognized.
Yeah, go ahead, Emily.
Okay, through the chair. So Danielle, you're just seeing this now, and I'm behind Jackie, like the longest running member of the board, and I haven't seen this. Can we just table this discussion and take the action of let's distribute this and have staff go through, make any suggested changes, and then, the board will make any suggested changes. And we can discuss this at a later date. Just to efficiently use all of our time this evening.
Certainly.
Okay. Do I need to make a motion for that?
I mean, it's just a discussion item. So,
not so much a motion at this point,
okay.
But I'm interested in knowing the feedback from other board members, and it just can be, again, how to go forward. Because I'm sure you're not going to be able to take this in right now. We might go away and be like, oh, we should have said this, we should have said that. But again, it's like Danielle said, it's more of an open discussion.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to need time to go read it.
I'm going to need a copy of it.
Yeah, this is different than the one that I saw attached to the agenda that was sent out. So it's a great topic for discussion, but I don't think we can have it right now.
But through the chair, I'm glad we brought it up, because if you guys don't actually have it, then that's good information to have.
It is good information because from my understanding, this would be given to every new board member as part of their onboarding, and it sounds like no one has it.
That's correct.
I'd like to suggest that we might actually think about, is there a place in these rules and regs that we literally put that? Right? Like that's
Oh.
the,
To make sure that all board members have it on.
yeah.
Again, can we distribute the material and then discuss and move on to another agenda item this evening? I think we're all in agreement about the importance of this, but just trying to use everybody's time efficiently this evening.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, since we have a meeting and we're open, I'm trying to just get more feedback from other board members and not just hearing myself or anyone
Yeah,
else have.
Yeah, no, I agree. We need time to read it and review it and then come back together and let's put it on an agenda.
Okay.
I agree with that as well.
So that's pretty much my feeling from the beginning, but I just want to make sure that I'm not tabling it and other people wanting to discuss it. And in that case, I guess we can just, if someone wants to give the motion, I guess.
I'll make a motion to table the discussion on the Community Development Board rules and regulations until a future meeting date.
Second.
Okay. Vice Chair Emily Hederman,
Aye.
Ari Fishman,
Aye.
Pam Mariansky,
Aye.
Sally Akiki. Wait, she's not here. Sharad Bachwacharia,
Aye.
and myself, Jackie McPherson. I'm an aye. And so the next item, Danielle, was fee schedules. Do you want to lead us in discussion on what you were thinking with the fee schedules?
Yes, so it doesn't seem that, so the only fee that we have is site plan review. The fee schedule doesn't contemplate that the CD board is a special permit granting authority. And so when we get applications, it's either we don't collect a fee at all or ask for $100, which is what the fee is for zoning board and city council, which are also very low. And, if an applicant said there's actually no fee here, then we probably couldn't compel them to pay that. But special permits from the other boards are $100. But I have, let's see, share my screen again. This is a kind of what I am proposing. If you look into the meeting folder, there is a spreadsheet. We pulled the permitting fees of various land use boards and some of the surrounding cities and towns and peer communities to see kind of where we were at. They haven't been updated since I think 1974 or something close to that. So they're really, really low, like basement bargain low. And we're not, for a city that has a revenue problem, we need to at least more closely cover the expenses or, come closer to that of the business of permitting. So I know the building department updates their fees, but for some reason they haven't been for planning and zoning. So I propose that for special permits for use, that when the CDB is the SPGA, that it'd be $300. And when it's the referral board, $200, reflecting that the work of writing decision and filing in it, and having to send out notices and do all the postings is more work. Still, it doesn't come close to covering time, but cities aren't supposed to operate like as a business, like a for-profit business, but it shouldn't be basically free. And since the city board sees, mostly larger developers, this wouldn't really be impacting like your everyday resident. We currently don't have a fee for special permit for detached ADUs. So I'm proposing a $250 fee for that. I don't know if there is a fee for, I imagine it's just a building permit fee for the ones that are by right that your board doesn't see and we don't see. And then for site plan review, currently the fee is 5 cents a square foot over 5,000 square feet for non-residential and 5 cents a square foot over 3,000 square feet. There are, looking through what's considered a major project, there are technically major projects that wouldn't incur a fee at all based on that calculation method. For example, the convenience stores, those are considered, so it's convenience retail and neighborhood retail. One of them is defined as being under 2,500 square feet. So that would be free, which doesn't make sense. So I'm proposing that there be a base fee for all site plan review, which is pretty standard everywhere else. And then to increase the fee from 5 cents to 10 cents. Again, this was from 1974, so it's still not a huge jump, and still lower than some peer communities. So I'm proposing 500. So sticking to 3,000 for residential. I think that's what it is now. Yeah, so I didn't change the 3,000 square foot threshold for residential. And for non-residential, I bumped it down to 2,000 square feet to reflect some of the actual uses that come in. And through the chair, it looks like member Emily has her hand raised.
Yes, Emily. Sorry, I can't see my entire screen.
No, you're good. That's why I figured I'd mention it that last time. And thanks for calling it out, Danielle. Through the chair, Danielle, you mentioned that this would potentially help the city with their revenue deficit. What is the projected revenue from the increase in fees? Just based on the last couple years of applications. Do you have that figure?
I don't have that.
Okay.
I'm requesting that from our clerk to see. Basically, I don't have, since I've only just started staffing the board, I don't have, I think it must be in a folder that I don't have access to. I don't know where it is. I'm assuming, I don't know if Alicia's still on the call, if there is a log somewhere of the filing fees.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that number just to understand the scale of what this decision would mean for the department, for the city. And then the other question I have is, if we as a board approve fee increases, whether they're as proposed on this page or adjusted, do we need approval by any other bodies to change these fees, or is it purely up to us?
It's purely up to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are planning board, but it's up to the office of, it's up to Danielle's office to make sure that we're in compliance with the amounts that we can charge.
What does that mean to
And
be up there?
it sounds like Danielle
under
has
compliance?
done that. Whatever the fees, or it's just like develop, if I'm not mistaken, Danielle, it's the same if we were charging developer some kind of fee or something like that, right? We have to make sure that we're in compliance and that we're not overcharging for certain things, or is this more administrative?
I'm not aware of any state law that's caps. If there is, based on we're still below peer communities. I
Okay, so I guess.
don't know, like, I think that it's, it's sort of like if, someone, doesn't get a raise for 10 years or you don't increase the rent in 10 years, that the jump's going to look pretty big. But it's because it hasn't been done incrementally or updated. As I said, I think it was the 70s that they were last updated. And for example, also like the Bank of America, that one that we spent so much time on, we actually didn't even get a fee from them. It was just $100 fee to the city council. That was it. A huge corporation. So they have to be updated, and it's the purview of this board to update them, at least according to our rules and regs and our zoning ordinance. In Somerville, I don't ever remember voting on fees. I think it was just set by staff. We didn't see them. But per our ordinance, and the rules and regs, you all can set them. And just to help Jackie, I think Emily had her hand up again, or did you lower it?
You just answered my question.
Okay.
In terms of like, does it need to be this board or can it continue to be staff? But it sounds like there's an ordinance that means it has to be this board. That
Yeah, I think it's like, perhaps it could be staff, but I think to err on the side of, to be conservative, that because sometimes, staff is, the representative of the board, and we can do some things administratively, but I feel it would make sense to have this voted on by the board, just to be extra careful. And so one of the other items is A&Rs. Currently, they're only $50. So I proposed changing, so 2 tiers to that. So for revising a lot line, $100. And if it's an A&R that creates new lots, then to charge $150 a new lot. And I was basically, I plucked those numbers looking at kind of what was the ballpark of neighboring communities. That's how I came up with those. I was trying to get my hands on the subdivision fees, because I couldn't believe that it was really only $50, but I think it might really only be $50. So I'd want to make sure that there was a fee for preliminary plan and for definitive plan. And I mean, we don't see a lot of subdivisions. So that one is not as probably urgent. But so we don't necessarily have to vote on all of these tonight, but trying to gauge the will of the board.
Sorry, Caitlin. For myself, going back to something Emily said, I didn't, I guess I mixed this up with like developer impact fees, that can violate the Fifth Amendment if we don't, if it's because it's regulatory, right? We have to make sure that we're within reason. And so since this is more like an administrative kind of staff thing, and it's just building a case for us to pretty much adopt. And I guess we just need a little bit more information on, obviously we know it's going to impact, the city somewhat for the deficit, but just give us something to vote on. I think a little bit more background. I see you did the research, but I would love to know like what we're charging versus another one, another community that's near us or something like that, just to see where we're at in comparison, just so that people have more confidence to vote on what you're presenting. Because again, this should still be, to me, a city staff kind of thing. But since it's not,
so do you see this table here?
I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude. I'm going off camera just to grab my plug. I'm not going to turn the camera off, and I'm just going to jump up and grab my plug. Sorry.
Danielle, did you email? I think this was in the folder that you sent
Yeah.
so people, in my case, it's easier for me to click on it and see it myself than. So this table of the reference fees that shows what other communities are charging is in the link in the folder that Danielle sent around. If anybody wants the link, I could grab that now.
Madam Chair, it appears Emily has her hand up.
Oh, yes, Emily.
Let me know if you want me to stop doing that too.
No, I just, I'm trying to work from two different, and I just can't see everyone because it's suppressed. So I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So just to clarify, like the intent for this evening, what are you looking for us to do? To discuss, to request follow-up information, to approve?
I mean, if you were comfortable approving the fee schedule in the folder, I would accept a vote tonight because then we could start charging those fees. Or then because the next meeting won't be until the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need more information? Do you feel they're too low?
I mean, I would just return it back to the chair to see if, this is something she's, comfortable, potentially voting on this evening, or if, maybe it's a discussion.
Well, for this item itself, and just because, I don't want to be the odd one out, but I definitely have an idea of how low our fees are already, but I have more of an advantage based on dealing with other cities and towns, and so the fact that we are so low, but I don't want that to be a reason why I'm ready to vote. I would need the entire board to feel confident in voting. One of my biggest questions to Danielle was just, what does that entail to bring you guys to confidence? And without me even saying that I know other communities and what they charge, the fact that this hasn't been done in 1974, since 1974, that's a reason to up them. But what do we up them to? Are we going high enough?
I'm looking at the sheet right now. I just feel like as I appreciate all the work that Danielle has done to pull all these pieces of information together, but it's like comparing like an apple and an orange and a kiwi. So I'm trying to level, and it's hard to do on one screen. So, I'm here, I'm thinking about it. It seems like we're still kind of low based on just my glancing and like scrolling up and down. It seems like we're still kind of low. Like, do we need to consider even going higher is my only question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's exactly where I came to, like, are we even going high enough? And will we have to revisit this again to go higher? Like, will we be doing this a second time?
Mm-hmm. So from a sort of working with developers perspective, in my mind, it's a good idea to put in some fees and to start charging them, and then revisit it in 6 months or a year and raise them, because that gives you, for repeat developers, it gives a chance to ease things in, like letting them know, like, we're starting to charge fees for things, we're still reviewing them. They may go up again. The thing that I really would like to see us raise is our linkage fees, but that actually we need a study, and we've had a really hard time finding somebody willing and able to do that study. And I don't mean a staff person, I mean hiring a consultant. And the last time we asked a consultant for a price, they wanted like $80,000. And I'm like, that is ridiculous.
So absent the linkage fee, which it sounds like we shouldn't even be discussing this evening, maybe we have kind of this like pilot fee raise. I like your idea, Alicia, about like a 6-month fee raise. I think just in order to like be transparent, I think we should do like a month notice for this and say like, effective, say we vote on it this evening, 12/20, effective January 20th or whenever we decide, the fees will be this. And then we test that out for 6 months and then we revisit it. And Ari, I'm sorry, I just saw your hand up. I'm sorry if I jumped in front of you.
No, I think those are good ideas and I agree with them. The other thing I wanted to throw in is I think that we should also, if we're doing this, take the opportunity to prevent it from going another 50 years before it's going, and potentially put in language like this should be revisited once every 2 years, once every 5 years. I don't really care what that number is as long as it is a number.
Put that in the rules and regs.
Yep.
Right. And actually, I'll tell you that is a good idea. Linkage says to revisit every 3 years is in the linkage rules. And it's because it's never been raised that I feel that we need a study and we can't just do it. But I think having it because it was in the rules, that made me start asking the question, why haven't we raised these? So I think by putting it in the rules, maybe we wouldn't raise them again in 3 years, but at least it would prompt us and it would warn people. And honestly, I would recommend put something in place now. We can also then gather some more information, collect any feedback, anecdotal, and revisit it in 6 months. And in the meantime, put it in that it should be reviewed at least every 3 years. And by saying it at least, that would allow you to say, actually, we need to do this sooner or not.
So through the chair, I can put this back on the screen, the fee schedule. Let's see.
And again, the linkage fees are the same as impact fees, right? That's allowed through special regular.
I will tell you legally, no. Our linkage fees are allowed by home rule petition and are therefore separate from the regulatory rules around impact fees. That's part of why the difficulty in updating those, because it's actually different from what's going on in the rest of the state.
Are linkage fees on the table this evening?
No.
Okay.
I just sort of
So
wanted to mention that as a side thing because I don't want people to forget about them.
Yeah. So, and I appreciate that, but maybe let's stay focused on the board fees so we don't get those confused. So what do we need to move this forward tonight?
I'm sorry. 1 second, Emily. My question regarding the linkage fees, because we're tabling it, someone had asked earlier if we can table the linkage fees and be separate. And I wanted to make sure, Alicia had responded saying that you needed a study and everything like that. So I wanted the board to have a full understanding if that was like a regulatory thing or if it was through legislation or if it's something that we can even discuss going forward. So I wanted to make sure that was clear. And Alicia has answered that question. So again, I guess us voting tonight would definitely take linkage fees off the table, but what does that look for us? What does that look like for us going forward anyways?
Sorry, I'm mildly confused because I don't think linkage fees was on. I think there was some confusion because as we started to discuss this, there was a confusion between fees that were regulated by the state, like development fees versus your permit fees. But we had not actually put linkage fees on the agenda for tonight.
Okay, sorry.
So
and then,
just the permit filing fees for the Community Development Board.
and going back to Emily's question, to move the board forward, what do we need to establish tonight? Are we voting? Are we in a position to vote, or are we tabling this to the next meeting? and that's me opening it up to the board.
I could vote.
And can we just clarify what we're voting on? Like, are we voting to adopt these fees, or are we voting to adopt these fees with the provision that they'll be revisited at a certain time?
I was thinking the latter when I said I would vote, but that's a good clarification.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had loosely heard, we didn't put it in writing. We didn't capture it, but basically the conversation had bounced back, like, I don't know, give it a date certain. I liked Emily's idea of maybe like rolling this out in a month, giving some time, and then, let them know that it's coming, and then maybe look at it later and it'd be more incremental later. But right now, roll this out and give them time.
So
and I guess.
Yeah. Can I make a motion to vote for adopting this fee table effective January 20th, which is a month from now, with a scheduled revisit in 6 months' time?
Can I propose a mild adjustment to that?
Yeah.
Adopting this effective January 31st, just recognizing that it's the holiday season. And, we want to probably post something to the website. So I'd want to give staff enough time to make that change.
That is extremely reasonable. Thank you, Emily.
Just thinking about the humans behind this.
I'm not sure current fees are even on the website.
So we have to create a website.
We see your chat.
Yeah, Danielle, you're sharing your whole screen and not just the one window.
How do I do that?
How did you share the whole screen?
Let's see. Okay, why is that doing that?
Sorry.
Does Ari need to re-motion?
Well, Peter has joined us. Peter, did you hear enough to even vote?
I was going to say, I'm going to abstain, or should I abstain or something like that? Because I only came in for the last 10 minutes or so. Sorry about that. It somehow took me an hour to get from Cambridge back to Medford, but.
No, don't worry. So it took my husband and I nearly 40 minutes to get from Medford to Medford tonight. Yeah. We went to get pizza in Avellino's and we couldn't get home. So, I'm exaggerating. It wasn't 40 minutes, but it was forever. Okay, so we're going to try to do that. We're going to do the wordplay again. If you could try one more time, Ari, sorry.
I propose a motion to adopt the stated fee schedule effective January 31st with a scheduled revisit in 6 months' time.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Roll call. Vice Chair Emily Hederman.
Aye.
Peter Kaus is abstaining. Ari Fishman.
Aye.
Pam Ariansky.
Aye.
Sherrod Butchert-Sharia.
Aye.
And myself, Jackie McPherson, I'm an aye. Okay, and we have minutes. The next item on the agenda is minutes is it from 11? Let's see. Sorry, I have two prep documents open here. All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from 11/15/23?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
Okay. Vice Chair Emily Hederman. Oh, were you? Well, you could. Even
I was going to abstain.
Okay.
Because I wasn't there. Yeah.
Just to let you know, going forward, one of the things that I've learned is this correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, even if you weren't there, you're just voting the minutes in to be filed. You don't have to have been there. Is that correct, Danielle?
It's true.
Okay. But you can also abstain. That's you're right. Peter Cowles,
Aye.
Ari Fishman,
Aye.
Pam Mariansky,
Aye.
Sharad Bajracharia,
Aye.
and myself, Jackie McPherson. I'm an aye. Okay. And before adjournment, are there any miscellaneous or other updates? Is this where you want to discuss the meeting schedule for 2024, Danielle?
Yeah, so let's see, that is in the folder. So I think this is the first year that we've had a meeting schedule set in advance, all on one piece of paper. Let's see, do you guys see it? And now I'm like, I have to go back into this.
You're not sharing anything now.
Thank goodness.
And I just dropped the link for anybody who wants to just open it locally.
So it's mostly keeping to the first and third, but one thing so January we're bumping out to second. Does everyone have that?
Mhm.
No, I think it's better to just do it this way so we can see each other. So it's mostly first and third, so you remember that, and then italicize is when it departs from that. They've been shifted for, Juneteenth. I think Eid. There's some other holidays we want to work around. They do fall on the school vacation weeks, which isn't good for me, but I couldn't figure out a way to shift them better. So if I can't staff it, then I see if somebody else can, or if there's no business, then maybe we could bump it or cancel it. But I would be shocked if there wasn't anything in February. And I propose just one meeting in July, unless there's an A&R and we're, beholden to meet within so many days. We don't get a lot of those. And if it is amenable to the board, I could send out an Outlook calendar invite for all of these at once. Like, what is the preference? I don't want to clog up inboxes, but like for me, if it's not on my calendar, then it doesn't exist.
I'm the same way.
So some people like put things on their own calendar. So you don't have to accept them because you probably don't know, but that's the whole thing. I don't know what to.
Oh, Ari, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Please send them. Yeah.
Yeah.
The earliest, the better.
Okay, just to get them all there. I anticipate that the 2nd January and the February meetings will be busy. A lot of site plan review applications coming up, and there was some delay in trying to find meeting dates because City Council doesn't have their 2024 schedule yet. Before, when they had regular meetings every week, you didn't have to think about when their meeting was to get them when they're the special permit granting authority, because we try to write the legal notices for them. So I didn't know when they're meeting.
This calendar looks really good. Thank you, Danielle.
And this it works for me, but I want to make sure is this a date that we're still, because I remember we changed them to accommodate schedules. Emily, are you still in school? Not to put you out, just anyone. I just want to make sure that this still works for everyone and that you don't need to change it for whatever reason.
You mean in terms of day of the week or first and third, or what do you mean, Jackie?
I'm sorry, the days of the week. we've tried to accommodate members as much as possible going forward. Like if there was something else that there was a conflict and we wanted to make sure, and you would never be able to be there, then obviously we want to look at a date that we get most of our board members. And it seemed like Wednesday we fell on where everyone could pretty much be there. And now that there's new members, I just want to make sure that that's still the same. And I also want to make sure that it's still a good day for the former board members.
Wednesday works for me.
Okay.
Well, that's all I have.
You don't need to formally vote the schedule as long as you guys are comfortable with it. We can post it. We can also, Danielle, just as an FYI, you can provide it to our comms department now, and they can pre-populate the city calendar as well. And that'll make it easier for people. As we wrap up, I just wanted to share our new exciting breaking news as of today. We have a new economic development director. He has accepted. He accepted today. I would say that because this is a public meeting and I don't know if he has told his old job, his current job, that he is leaving, that I'm going to wait a little bit before telling people, but he starts January 15th. I just want to make sure that he's notified the people he needs to notify, because I've only known for about 3 hours. So I'm still very excited. And I think we told you at our last meeting that we also have an economic development planner starting January 3rd and a housing planner starting January 2nd. So we are going to be fully staffed by the middle of January. Well, at least for our existing positions, and then I'm going to fight for more. So,
and you'll pay for them with the fees.
yeah. All right.
That's exciting. I'm happy that you're fully staffed.
Yes. So anyhow, happy holidays. That just made my holiday, but I wanted to share it with all of you. I hope everybody take some time off.
Well, per my oldest daughter, it's her birthday. It's not Christmas, so we're going to celebrate her birthday.
Everybody gets a holiday for her birthday.
Yeah, everyone.
I mean, like, not that everybody celebrates it, but like things are closed.
Yeah, definitely.
A vacation day. That's what I should say.
All right. I'm going to do a roll call attendance. If there's no other updates or anything that anyone wanted to share, I will do a roll call for adjournment.
Yeah.
Vice Chair Emily Hedman.
Aye.
Peter Cowles.
Aye.
Ari Fishman.
Aye.
Pam Mariansky.
Aye.
Sharad Butchbachria.
Aye.
And myself, Jackie McPherson. I'm an aye.